LFC Daytrippers, brought to you by bookmakers.com.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, that's Keith, that's Seany, and this is No Transfer Knowledge. Loads to go through, loads and loads to go through. Mainly people's heads falling off because what date's it? 24th of June or something like that, and it's all kicking off around different clubs. Well, kicking off, they're signing one or two, but we're going to talk about some players linked to Liverpool, what we need. Pre-season is fast approaching. Anything that comes up in the chat as well. Keith, how are you? Are you looking forward to another transfer from Liverpool at some stage in this summer window?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think people are playing
We need one.
a week without a transfer.
I was thinking about this earlier. We need one probably every 6.5 days. We probably need one.
It would be nice, yeah.
Just
That'd
to
be
keep
a
things
lovely little timetable. That, look, I think from reading, if you trust what you're hearing about the targets and the names have been consistent, obviously the odd one gets thrown in like Barella now, which I don't believe has any legs whatsoever. If you believe the links to Thuram, to Kone, to Gabri Vega, to Gravenberch, they're all off at the Euro. So I suppose if they're the targets from a midfield perspective, well then it's going to be quiet really until maybe, I don't know if they want to get something done in between that, but they might just leave it. That's if you believe they're the target. So if we couldn't get one done before that tournament kicked off, well then I'd say it's going to be quiet unless we switch the focus to defenders. And again, even Big Mickey is playing for Holland tonight, so it's another one that's at that. So I suppose it just all depends. I know we spoke endlessly about this, and I know me and you sort of differ to Seany in the sense that Seany doesn't believe FSG will splash the cash on the team because why would they? They've no track record of doing it. Whereas I know I certainly am in the opinion of they have to do it because of the players that are leaving. So I have faith that they will do more, but yeah, it's all going to be quiet at the moment, except for stupid makey uppers, like I said, that shouldn't have any legs. But people just have a thirst for the transfer rumours, so these things gain momentum and gain pace.
Seany, just going on a couple of names because the biggest one or the most prominent one over the last month or so has been Kefram Thuram, who's with France at the under-21s tournament that I think kicked off the weekend, was it the weekend? Yeah. 16, 17, somewhere around there it kicked off. And, as soon as that kicked off, Seany, we're seeing things like, Liverpool will wait till the end of the Euros to do something on that. Liverpool will talk to Nice when this is all over. Is this just filling column inches because, whether you think Liverpool are going to do A, B or C or you don't, if they've any interest in Kefram Thuram, they're not wandering into it going, listen, we forgot about the Euros. But again, I was only thinking today, Liverpool haven't opened their mouth this summer. Haven't opened their mouth. Even the McAllister stuff just got done, released a lot of media, and then they gone quiet again. Do we still believe, whether you think it's going to be a madness, another 3 or 4, or 1 or 2, that the likes of the Euros and all, Seany, they know that's there. Do you know what I mean? Are we just filling column inches here at the minute with, we leave it till after the Euros?
Yeah, I don't get the whole we leave it after the Euros because I'm not naive to think that we only start looking at Thuram at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'd imagine this is probably going on since February, March, April. So, whoever's putting out there, we'll leave it till after the Euro stuff is a lot of bollocks to me. But I just see it as kind of to do with Liverpool transfer related will generate clicks one way or another, and I just think it's pouring fuel on the fire because I actually think that's sort of a provocative sort of way of speaking about it, because then you'll have the people going, oh, that's lovely, now we'll wait, and then that'll be just tied up, and then you'll have the naysayers going, oh yeah, let's, like I seen someone earlier putting two and two together and getting 1,233 in terms of saying, oh yeah, leave Anna's price go up then and we'll get price out of it.
Well, Martin says the same thing there. He says, watch tour on value increase after the Euros, and we can't afford them.
Like, to be honest with you, like, this is all a product of what FSG have. We're only going off what's happened in the past. And it does seem to be a sweet spot for Liverpool between 35 to 50 million as to what they're willing to pay for a player, and then outside that, we're not really willing to go. And that's just going by the past. So, like, people are restless, and I think rightfully so. People have, now, I don't believe in the fucking knee-jerk hyperbole that, like, nothing's going to get done and it's a disgrace we haven't got players in yet. Like, look, let's be honest. Look at the literal of the horse's mouth and what Klopp said in the last day of the season, the last press conference. He said it could take 6 or 7 weeks to get the players you want, because clubs may be reluctant to let such players go, and it's going to take patience. So,
or they could be playing in a 21 championship.
Yeah, exactly, and like that, literally, like that's where I kind of sit with it. I'll always side with Jurgen. He's not faultless, but I'll always side with Klopp and I listen to him, because no disrespect to any of these journalists, Pearce, Jones, any of them. No, like, the lads are doing their jobs at the end of the day. I'm sure they're getting it in their ear from the up above that they do need to be putting out stories regarding Liverpool. It doesn't always have to be true. But I'm going to stick with Klopp on this and remain patient and see where we sit come the start of August, because I think that will be the marker. I know you are saying that you see it's going big, but I'm already seeing shades of previous windows in this, in terms of the words, the type of language that's being used, in terms of looking for value and this, that, and the other. Like, I don't think we should be looking for value. I think we should be getting the best in class that's available, because we swallowed the brick of Bellingham, for want of a better term, for 3 windows, let's say, and ultimately done fuck all in terms of going for it. So, if I'm being completely honest, if Moises Caicedo was available and going to Chelsea for £80 million, I want to be in the conversation. If Barella is, and I'm not mad on Barella, honestly, I wouldn't go near him, if I'm being honest with you. And like 99% of them in the chat haven't seen him outside the Champions League games. I'm sure he's a good player, but I just don't want that to do with players out Serie A, if I'm being 100% honest with you. They don't travel well. They're notoriously poor travel. Yeah, they don't. That's not an opinion. That's near fact. Like,
name, as you said to me, Sean, you named 3 that were a success in England.
Yeah. So look, I'm not gonna sit here berating the owners. I think there was something put out yesterday that kind of tells the tale. People will deny it, people will justify it, but it's there in black and white. It is what it is with these owners. I don't expect a big spend, but at the same time, I don't think a 200 million net spend is 100% necessary if you buy the right players. And they have until August to do that. And when I say have until August, like, they either do it or they don't. Like, they're not under any pressure. Because it's not like this is a player under contract. These are the custodians of the club, and they will run it as they see fit. And in my opinion, they just lack that bit of kick to drive us on to the next level. And I know you was about saying, and I agree with what you say, that it's a necessity, but I'd argue that it's been a necessity for years, lads. And I don't like the word neglect, because I think it's too serious for football. Like, I think football is superficial. I think the word neglect is. I just don't. I haven't seen the push. I haven't seen the push from FSG since the year we get beaten in the final by Madrid the first time around. So, look, I'm willing to kind of be honest and sit on the fence for the time being, because there's fuck all. There's no point me sitting here moaning and berating the owners, but it's not really a judgment. We'll just know how serious they are by the end of this window. And if you're asking me now, I'll hold the same opinion I had 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't think that serious owners, and they'll need to do something big in this window to prove to me that they're serious owners. And then on the other end, they fuck all to prove to me, because I'm just a fucking idiot on the internet with an opinion. So I'm like getting away, man. Like, to be honest with you, this whole Saudi Arabia thing, Gav, has knocked the fuck out of me, because
we get onto that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. It's like I genuinely feel myself like this is like the COVID season when there was no fans and all. I'm kind of like, what's the fucking point? Like, I'm completely disillusioned by the direction football is going. I'm actually quite upset, like, in a way that I love football so much, and this PIF, that one cunt, that gammon-headed, leather-headed bastard who's at the taking over Newcastle, is single-handedly mauling this sport. Forget about City and who potentially might buy United. Saudi Arabia are running fucking ragged on the game, and I'm just I'm thinking of a possible way where I can just block these cunts out and just focus on Liverpool. But it's fucking everywhere, and I hate that it's the biggest, most obvious elephant in the room has come to the fore way sooner than I thought it would. I thought we had another couple of years left before the game completely went down the pan. But this has completely changed the landscape of the game, and I don't think I'm being dramatic in saying that. It's a shit show.
Well,
100%.
I want to go into that in detail in a little bit. I just want to go through a couple of the players that were being linked with, and some other stuff other teams are doing as well, because I think, like Keith, like Seany's saying there, right? Me and Seany are constantly in this conversation about FSG, what needs to be done, blah 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 blah, and you know, when we actually are talking to each other, we're actually going, I know you're right and I'm right, and we're kind of all right in what we're saying. We just differ in certain things, and you know, me and you talk about going big, and when I say go big, I mean go and get what you need.
Yeah.
You know, I'm quite happy. Honestly, I'm quite happy Liverpool turned around tomorrow and said we're at the signing of 4 or 3 midfielders for £100 million combined. If that's what they want to do, I'm absolutely fine with that, because Kefren Turam, Manu Kone, and Gravenberch would probably come in around that price, I would say, right? A little bit over, maybe, right? But just going on things. But Keith, at the moment, do you feel like it's all narratives? Because one narrative I've seen around, just sticking on Kefren Turam, because I believe everything's gone quiet. All right, and I think the 21s might be a reason behind that. I think there might be something else where they have an eye on a player and they can't get him until his team buy a replacement, something like that. I believe it's gone very quiet everywhere. But isn't it all about narratives at the moment? And look, we can bang on about FSG, and look no further. If it comes to the end of August and Liverpool haven't signed, in our opinion, probably 4 players, right? We will bang a drum. There's no doubt about it. Right, but I've seen one narrative around Turam, Keith, where it's like, look, Liverpool know where it is, Nice know where it is. Rumours around that he's agreed personal terms, and Nice and Liverpool are close on just getting the deal done. But the players being left to go and play as 21s tournament, they'll be sorted out by the middle of August or middle of July, right? And the other narrative is, no, Liverpool are standing there monitoring and watching and doing this, that, and the other, are doing fuck all. And he's going to go there, and teams are going to watch him, and they're going to come in and gazump Liverpool, and that'll be the end of it. It's all these narratives, Keith, but like, where do you stand on it? Because I just think Liverpool have been very, very quiet on everything. But I would, and I'm okay with that, because I like Liverpool doing business where they just do it. But I have to be honest, the more it drags on, and I would say probably a week the other side of that 21s tournament, I'd be kind of going, hold on. That finished a week. Do you know what I mean? We're at the end of July now. What is going on? Where do you stand on it? Is it just quiet for quiet's sake? Or is it quiet because Liverpool are just monitoring a load of fuckers?
Yeah, I agree with the timeline. Myself and Shawnee have said there at the end of July, the start of August. If we're not signing players by sort of the start of August, then we're in the Art Mello realms of
Yeah.
just give us any bastard at the end of this.
Unless it's a Soicedo where you're just constantly banging on a door.
That's what I was going to say. Unless it's someone that it's a blatant blockbuster, and people would say Caicedo's not a blockbuster. I think he would be fucking sensational for us. But other than that, I just think someone said it in there. The French don't release their players to negotiate and things like that. There could be something like that. Nice are in all sorts of shit. Your man was trying to buy Man United. You know, you don't know what's going on with the other teams on the other side of it as well. And again, it's if you believe these are the players that they're linked with. The likes of Gabriel Vega has a release clause. Dominic Szoboszlai, I see linked with him as well. Release clause. You know, so these are players that can be, you know, if they're actual targets, they can be, you know, easily gotten. But I'd say it's all dependent on, you know, having agreements with the players, and nearly you don't want to be getting into bidding wars, and especially with the likes of Newcastle now, who seem to be linked with a lot of the same bodies that we're being linked with. Because if we use the Jude Bellingham situation where we had our arse flashed out to him for 2-3 years and he went to Real Madrid, you look at it being, if you realistically look at it, you can say, right, Real Madrid blew us out of the water because ultimately they're the biggest club in the world, and they offered him a package that gazumped anything we could do, and we always were relying on him wanting to play for Liverpool above all others. There's not many that would actually choose Liverpool over Real Madrid, if we're being brutally honest. You know, it's not, and that's not a slight on Liverpool. I think to play for Jurgen Klopp, loads of players would love to do it, but the reality is you're not going to get every target that you want, so you have to go and get the right targets. Now, I agree with something you said, Gav. It's not about spending, you know, 200, 300 million on players. That'd be great. Fantasy world, we were talking about Guardiola a few weeks ago. We just need to get the right lads in. So, as I said, I think if we don't have a Kefran Thuram or a Manu Kone in by the end of July, then I'm worried. Do you know what I mean? If we don't have another midfield player in by then, I'm worried. I don't expect to get one more midfielder in, by the way, at the end of the month. And then I think it's you're more opportunistic after that. Whether it's, you know, you're trying to get a price down on someone, or you're going gangbusters on a Caicedo or something like that.
But Keith, can I ask the question, right? Because, like, some people online with regards to transfers do my fucking head in, right? I avoid them at all costs, right? But is there an argument? I think there is. Is there an argument where, you know, going on past performance and past actions or non-actions by Liverpool, where, you know, okay, let's sit on the fence a little bit and say, you know what, it's okay if we're looking at Kefran Thuram and Manu Kone or Gravenberch, wherever they are, right, they're in the 21s tournament. If we're looking at them and we're way down the road with them and we have everything in place, because we don't know if they do or not, right? But if we have everything in place, they finish up the tournament, a week later they're standing in the AXA and they're Liverpool players, you're going to go, brilliant. That's McAllister, say Gravenberch and Thuram, brilliant, right? But people have a right, Keith, to get to, in my opinion, probably mid-July, going, like you said, we're in Art Mello territory here. We're in the territory where is there value? Is the right player? You know, we get spun all this stuff, not only by the owners, by the manager as well, right? Let's be honest. People have the right to be like that, Keith, because they're only going on what's being done before. And as much as me, you, or anybody else says, you know, we have to do this, and we absolutely have to, right? We've turned over a forward line quite successfully. I think defensive-wise, I think they'll do it gradually, but this midfield needs it now. Bang, it needs it. People are allowed, Keith, to turn around and be sceptical to a point, but then are allowed to turn around and go, hold on, this is going down the exact same line it did last year, the year before, and the year before that.
Yeah, the history will show that. But as we've said, the only reason I think it's different is we've lost, let's include Arthur Mello for the sake of an argument, but we've lost Arthur Mello, Naby Keita, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and James Milner. It's four midfield players. The reality is their minutes last season, you could replace them with one competent player. But that's on top of the Henderson, who just looks to be regressing all the time. Age and fitness is always going to catch up on him. Thiago looks like he's just going to be a blading. He's going to be like a box of Ferrero Rocher. You only take him out on special occasions going forward next season because you're not going to be running him into the ground. You're looking at Fabinho, whose form, well, I thought he got back. He done very well at the end of the season, if I'm being totally honest. He wasn't back to his best, but he was certainly better than he had been. But I would be worried about him. There's no way we can go in with Alexis McAllister plus the bodies that we have there now, because there is concerns over other players in that team. So I think, while, history dictates that we won't do much, I just feel we have to do it in the midfield. The forward line, as you say, we turned over. People expecting us to buy a backup for Mo Salah, I think, is absolute madness. I think it's crazy talk that people would even think that. I think you just work with what we have there, and we've said it before. Not everyone agrees, but I'd be looking at giving Ben Doak minutes as a backup option.
Keep being devil's advocate there, right? For the sake of starting an argument, which I'm going to do.
Lovely.
Go.
Settle in.
No, right. So the live money football table comes out last year and was second.
Yeah.
We're behind Madrid because Man City are first and they cheat. Right? Why is it out of realms of possibility of buying a player to back up Mo Salah? Why is Vardy unrealistic? Why, this is what I'm trying to say. This is where it comes down to for me. Like, you can't just turn around and go, they spend everything that comes in. We make a shitload of money, yeah, fucking fair enough. But that's what frustrates me is when you see that article that come out, and I'd normally dismiss most of them shites because people fucking bang on about your man Mo Chatra and go everything is gospel. I had a look into that yesterday, and it's minus 37 on behalf of the money we had to pay, a premium we paid them back on loans they gave us for the AXA, the main stand, and the Anfield Road, and I'm okay with that. But there's been zero, and I mean it, zero additional income put in by them. Now, you might say that's entitlement and they don't have to do that, but that's what I want them to do. And I'm not asking for an extra 100 million a window. 20, 30 million a window here. If you give Klopp and his backroom staff an extra 30 million in a window, they could amortize 3 signings worth X amount of a certain amount of years. That's enough to do. That might be the only expenditure, and we don't do that, and that's where the frustration kicks in. We've made more money and more successful than we'd ever been in this era of fucking money in football, but we always seem to be left short. And that's the thing is, we have it drilled in our heads that we can't do this, and we're being priced out of this, and it's all because of language used and how persuasive the media is and stuff put out. Now, I don't know who's putting it out there. The Significant Fund show was putting a Paul Joyce article. All right, Klopp will be given significant funds was putting a Paul Joyce article. 2 days later, we pull out a Bellingham one. We're going gun-ho from Alexis McAllister, and we get him for a fucking snip. Let's be honest. But where's the premium being put out for the world-class players that we can obtain that they're not bringing in? Vardy will play for Liverpool if we paid the money. I get the Bellingham thing. I do. I get it. I 100%. I understand in the end. The package he was offered by Madrid is fucking insane. Simple as. We didn't act quick enough. We probably could have got Bellingham on a pre-contract if he acted faster and left him there like Naby Keita. This is the thing. And that's what frustrates me. But I'm not going to throw the fucking baby out with the bathwater and completely dismiss everything good FSG have done. But it's frustrating as fuck that they have not supplemented the best manager of this generation. Stick Guardiola up your bollocks. Because if he was managing Liverpool, he'd be in Lomans in a white jacket, straight chained to a wall. Klopp is a miracle worker. He's a fucking miracle worker, and he's been. And Gab, I know you were going to say, Gab, that he's part of blame, and I agree.
No, I'm not going to say that.
But he should have been given the fucking tools and not expected year on year out And I don't think it's a stretch in saying year on year out to work fucking miracles. They've gambled. They rolled the dice every year with Klopp. Almost every year they've rolled the dice. He's here 7 years, 8 years now. They've gambled 6 out of them years. It's paid off every time, apart from this one. And he's been let down fucking greatly.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, FSG's shortcomings in terms of their lack of investment in this team will be massively exposed when they're around, when Jurgen Klopp goes.
Yeah,
the fella is special. He is a special fucking manager. And I'm telling you, when we had this argument a few weeks ago, and I said he wins despite them. That may have been an extreme case, but he will have less achievements because of them when it comes to the flip side. Because I'm telling you now, although spending guarantees nothing, they left them short way too fucking often. And they can't afford to do it now. They can't, because they can. It's so frustrating that these players are there to be got and we're not in the hat. And you have cunts like Newcastle now who are going to, we've only 75 million to spend. Will they fuck? They're going to go out and bash out money on, they bashed out money on Isak, they'll bash out money on Tonali, they'll be fucking open. Cunts in Saudi Arabia will be offering players more wages than we do. And that
comes down to the problem you mentioned earlier, Johnny. This list that comes out, right, is what club owners have invested of their own money in clubs. Is that correct? And Liverpool's sitting 19th out of that. Right. Yeah. I get the but hold on, I get the frustration with that, right? But you have to understand, right, that, and to be honest with you, they'll probably have to go beyond what Liverpool have in the bank or whatever this summer to sort themselves out. They will actually have, unless they announce investment at the end of this window where that's going to cover what they're going to spend, they will probably have to go beyond what they've done before, simply because no matter where we are in that Deloitte list, right, it all fucking gets turned around. We don't make mad profits. Liverpool as a club do not make mad profits. It's not like I'd completely be on board with you if Liverpool were sitting here with 150 million profit from last year and going, we don't want to spend that money. I'd be completely on board with you.
Yeah, but
you see, the thing is, Shani,
I'm acknowledging that they're spending the money that comes in, but what I'm trying to say is it could be supplemented at every single window with 20 million.
Correct.
They wouldn't feel it.
But the thing is, Shani,
oh, we don't want to operate in debt.
And that's an absolutely...
It's not a fucking... debt is common in business.
I understand that, but Shani, debt is absolutely common in business. It's absolutely common in business. But Shani, the frustration here, right, is it's a viable, it's a proper frustration, because I think the biggest frustration should be, as a club over the last, I think, 2.5 years, we haven't identified what's going on with the midfield. If you just take it at midfield, we haven't identified what's going on and acted decisively enough on it, and we've left ourselves in this position, right? But FSG, we're never going to spend their own money in Liverpool Football Club, ever. They turned up in 2010, and they said they were big on FFP, right? They're big on FFP, but they said they were going to under promise and over deliver, right? They were going to deliver in that means they were going to be sustainable. And to be fair, right, if things were an even playing field, they'd be absolutely fine, right? They'd be absolutely fine. They're not fine now because it's not really a level playing field, and we talk about it in a minute, right? Do they have to go beyond what they usually do this summer? Possibly, unless they're going to sell somebody, which is ludicrous. If you're going to sell somebody for 60, 70, 80 million to take an asset off it, to put 2 or 3 assets back in, it's ludicrous. It's a stupid thing to do. But I understand your frustration about supplementing it here and supplementing it, but they were never going to do it, Johnny. The model is never, ever, ever, ever going to do it. And I would be as frustrated as you, right? And I am at times as frustrated as you, but I still come back to, that's the way they work. That is the way they work. And if you want them out because that's the way they work, that's absolutely fine. But turning around, like, it's not like they've never promised to go and say, we earn $500 million a year, but I tell you what, we're going to put another 100 million. They're never going to do that. But they're never going to.
My issue is their ambition. That's my issue.
Well, their ambition is to have a self-sustaining football club that earns a shitload of money and spends it all. And that's what and if listen, Shawnee,
Their ambition should be to win.
Shawnee, their ambition. You see, the price of or the supposed price of ambition to win, right, is not what it was 5 years ago. It's not what it was 10 years ago, because we're going to talk about something. We're going to, but how far are you going to go, Shawnee? Because look, if they sell nobody this summer and spend 150 million quid, right, they're going to show a loss of 100 million quid next year. Simple as that, right? No, there's no problem to that, and that's them actually supplementing it, because they're going beyond what the club is earning. But how far do we go? Do we told like? Then you're getting into, and as much as I want us to sign players, you have to look at it from both sides. You have to look at it from both sides and say, if we go and do something extraordinary this summer, right, without investment in it, how far do we push ourselves? Saudi Arabia are taking this sport by the scruff of the neck now. We're seeing this. And how far do we go? And like people are saying here, just Hannah is asking, is this an FSG or in or out show? No, it's not. But the conversation has come up about FSG and where we are and stuff like that. Shawnee feels that we should supplement it, and I agree. We should have made better decisive decisions in the last 2 to 2.5 years. That's the way it goes.
Can I say something? Right, yeah. So something Shawnee said about why can't we pay for the backups and things like that, and I do get that. I get the frustration as well on this, because you know, we're not talking about 100 million a year. We're talking about 20 million a year just to get an extra body in, just to do the business. Now, the thing with the Mo Salah cover, as I don't see it happening, is just based on the fact that this player, I don't think, would ever play. And I can't see Jurgen Klopp signing a £60 million player, for example, to be a backup to Mo Salah. I think they'd rather use the players that are already in the squad. And we've too much work to do elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you can say we're brainwashed by FSG and things like that. But I just sort of go on the fact that, you know, we don't have this unlimited budget. The likes of Vardiol, I think we can afford to buy any player on a transfer fee. But when you're dealing with other clubs with wages, that's when Liverpool are blown out of the water. And I think Vardiol being linked with Man City would put him well out of our realms, because his wages will be probably earning about 35 grand a week officially, but he'll be getting about 400 grand into some offshore account. So you're competing with that, and that's without the Saudi Arabia element. Look at Bernardo Silva now going out to fucking Saudi Arabia. Ruben Neves gone to Saudi Arabia, getting loaned to Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? Like, the game is changing, and FSG, I think, are going to look to get out of it as soon as they can when this show kicks in.
So do I.
And that's where the worry happens.
Because I think like a couple of things, right? If we made correct decisions about midfielders, i.e. probably Keita, definitely Chamberlain, and maybe one other over the last 2 years, where we went, no, that they're gone, we need to bring more in. I don't think we're having this conversation, right? About, we're probably looking, going, geez, in a year's time we might need to bring 1 or 2 in when you're looking at Henderson, Fabinho, whatever, right? Thiago. That's one side of it, right? Where the club itself have made poor decisions, right? External factors, like someone's, I don't know who it was there, like FSG have been acting the bollocks since way before the Saudis turned up, but they're not. They're doing exactly what they said they would do. It's not like they're not saying one thing one week and doing something else the other. It's always been this way, and if you want them out because of that, that's absolutely fine. Like AC/DC says the books are fake, whereas the Nike money, the books aren't fake. They're publicly put out there every March, I think it is.
I just like us not to be 19th in that table.
But you're always going to be 19th, Shawnee. That's never going to change. Why? Because they're never going to put their own money in. Yeah.
I think they're actually going to put money in this year. I genuinely think this is the year that they will actually put money in, because I don't think we have saleable assets. I don't think we have a golden egg to sell to supplement what we need to do. So I genuinely think this is one year that they're going to have to sucker up and put in for transfers. Do you know what I mean? But I do agree they don't do it any other time.
But I actually think if they do go in and put another 150 down on the table on top of McAllister, you'll see an investment announced at the end of the window. I would be absolutely shocked if they done it off their own back.
I agree with that, but like an initial investment, how many windows is that going to cover you for?
Oh well. You see, the way I look at it, the investment would be a minority investment with the eye on taking over the club over probably 5 years, and FSG's amount will drop as it goes. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like,
but that's what I mean. But this is completely hypothetical because what three of us are talking now about how, if I'm being 100% honest. But
Speak
if
for yourself.
if you fucking say someone comes in and buys X amount at the club and that's gone in, like you've said it often, we're going to be doing this dance next year anyway because there's still going to
100%.
be players getting moved on. So they're gonna it's sort of shit I got off the pot. Now I'm gonna caveat all that by saying I'm gonna roll back on something I said on shows 2 or 3 months ago, and I probably shouldn't surprise people. I was of the idea that you should follow the crowd and do whatever it takes to compete. After seeing the way it's going and potentially gone, I'd sooner not walk away from Liverpool, but I'd just pull myself out of it than see Liverpool owned by by any country. And that's just being when I look at it now, I don't particularly care about Qatar buying United, but if I'm being honest with you, I don't think it's all right for clubs like Newcastle and Man City to be owned by clubs like that because it's who gives a fuck. But us and United, we're institutions of football,
Yeah.
and I don't
Arsenal
think
to an extent as well.
I think it's beyond. I think it's beyond sports washing if they took that because you're a big golf fan, Gav. They literally bought that sport.
Yeah.
If you're a Formula One fan, they're in the process of buying that sport. If they managed to get control of someone like United, fucking close the door on the way out because I don't know. It's shy. It's a load of bollocks, to be honest with you. It's heartbreaking because I think we all say we all love football, but it'll be just a big fucking pissing in the wind, dick swinging competition if this continues the way it's going. And I actually don't trust the powers that be to put any sort of constraint and get it under control. I think the horse is bolted.
The genie's out of the bottle there,
But
isn't it?
Colin Kavanagh says, Gav, make your mind up. No, Colin, my mind's completely made up. There's things I want Liverpool to do. There's players I want them to sign. There's frustrations I have, but I'm still able to look and go, they're not going to do it. They've never done it. And if you're not happy with that, absolutely fine. There's elements of it I'm not happy with, but I still don't. I wouldn't be going around banging my head going, why aren't they spending 200 million? Because they never have, and they're not going to spend 200 million outside what Liverpool earn. You know, John says there, we're earning a club earning 600 million a year, and we're still talking about selling players to buy some. Go and look at the accounts. We earn 600 million. See what we say we put out every year. See what profit or loss Liverpool have made in the last 10 years. It's not like we're making a load of money and then good luck. Do you know what I mean? It's just all sitting there piled up in someone's fucking gaff. It's not how it works. The accounts come out and Liverpool are always fucking bang on the edge. They really are. When it comes to it, there's COVID and all that, but that's a different fucking conversation for a different day. Keith, I had a lovely chat with Joe Wayman on Monday night, I think it was, where this stuff was kicking off with regards to Saudi Arabia, Clear Lake, Chelsea players and stuff like that. But just going on that again, to get both your opinions on, and Shawnee's been fairly vocal there now. It's very, very worrying. It's very, and I don't mean this from as a Liverpool fan or any fan. I just think it's madness, Keith, that a country can own a Premier League club, can now own 4 other clubs in their own country, and be a major investor in a second Premier League club, and then take all them players from that second Premier League club over to the 4 they own in their own country, and make their investment look stronger. Like, where is this going, Keith? Because this is, like, as much as we're going about 115 charges against City, and I totally believe that they should be banged to rights for them, this is another level of stuff, Keith.
Yeah, this is absolutely going to blow Man City's cheating into orbit, in my opinion, because what City are doing, and if you compare, let's say, Man City to Manchester United, if Qatar buy Manchester United, you don't have to really fiddle any books at United, because United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, so they'll be able to go in and spend what they want to spend, essentially, within sort of as within the rules as they can. They don't have to make up fake attendances. They don't have to fucking do all the shit that City are doing. So that'll be a juggernaut. But what's happening with Saudi Arabia? It's not only going to kill football, and it is going to kill football in my opinion. They're killing sport. Shawnee mentioned the golf. Boxing, they're trying to get their claws into the boxing and have big fights over there. They're trying to get the F1. They bid something like 10 billion for Formula One. Got rejected, but they're going to be back for that. And they have their race and they have all this. And they are going to the WWE. They have that. They're going to get their tentacles into everything. And look, this isn't about bashing Saudi Arabia or Middle East money. It's just the reality. Saudi Arabia main export is oil, right? Everyone knows this. They're changing their tact, and the fact that oil going into the future, it's not.
The main export's going to be fucking. The main import's going to be Chelsea players in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. On the books. Every blading wank sock that needs to be blading got off the books will end up playing in Saudi Arabia. But they're going to change it. They've controlled the world basically with oil, and they're now going to look to do it with sport. And that might sound a bit extreme, but that's what they're going to do. They're going to control everything. And what we're going to see is we're going to see Premier League games in Riyadh. We're going to see Champions League games in Jeddah or whatever else is over. I don't even know if they're in Saudi Arabia. I think they are. You're going to see big games being played over there. And when that starts happening, to me, the game is gone. League One put a comment in the chat earlier about the reality is the Premier League was the death knell. I don't know. I don't know. The Premier League, same time as around the Champions League, football was changing. It was becoming more modern. But yeah, I agree to an extent that, it became more about money and big business then. I think this is blowing everything out of water. Do you know what I mean? I think this now is just going to, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal are the traditional biggest clubs in England. Spurs, Everton, Villa, always the traditional big clubs. Man City, no. Chelsea, no. Newcastle, no. But these are going to be the powerhouses now. These clubs are coming in. It's like the Beverly Hillbillies when the Hillbillies they struck oil, ironically. They became rich, and they were just sort of, hillbillies that got rich, and that's what City are, that's what Chelsea are, that's what Newcastle are. It's sad to see, and you're going to see Man City now. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. Man City will be a European record in 10 years. Do you know what I mean? They could literally go and win 7 Champions Leagues because they're just going to keep pumping money in and buying it. And they don't even have to keep pumping the money in now because they've done all that already. You know what I mean? They'll cover and say, well, we only brought in Haaland and we only brought in Akanji or whatever because they've done all the heavy lifting, but they'll still dot in players here and there. They'll have the best in class. It's going to be too hard to compete. And when you see Newcastle doing, and you see, well, Chelsea have always been there or thereabouts, but you'll see more clubs being bought out by these Saudi PIF. And I think it's terrible for the game. I just can't see in 5 years' time, if this keeps going the way it is, I'd lose all interest in football.
I'd say at least Man City was stealthy about it, and so was Abramovich. Like
Abramovich was quite open about it. He just went in and signed shitloads of players.
Abramovich had Vitesse Arnhem, which he ran and literally laundered players through there, and he'd done it for ages, and he had millions of players out on loan. And this is not a fucking the Middle East bashing exercise. It's just they are the ones with the money now who are pillaging the game. And this PIF group, this fella who was at the taking over Newcastle, like, it was nothing got to do with him. And then all of a sudden, when all the live stuff came out, the fella who owns Newcastle is not involved in the government, but he's the fucking minister for sport in Saudi Arabia, but he's not involved in the government. United are being taken over by Qatar potentially. It's nothing got to do with your man who owns PSG, but he's in boardrooms with the Rain. He's in boardrooms with the Rain Group. Like, these are fucking, like you said, Gav, they've bought 4 clubs in 2 cities to fight off each other in terms of making it like a derby as much as possible. And now they're bringing players in. Now, I think that Neves thing has to be a wind up because of that. It's so blatant.
Or if Neves
Now,
ends up at Newcastle
look,
on loan, it's
the
just
thing
like,
is,
lads.
outright, I don't really have an issue with fucking Saudi Arabia's league is kind of outside the jurisdiction of fucking FIFA and UEFA or whatever else. It's doing its own thing, all right. But when you look at this shit that's going on with Clearwater and Chelsea, it just stinks to high hell. It stinks to high hell. League Gunners in the chat there talking about the money Liverpool and Arsenal bring. That's for in, but that's literally through fucking years and years of success and history and all of that goes into
organically.
Don't get it twisted. Man City are building that now. You can buy a Man City jersey now in Lifestyle Sports in Dublin, which wouldn't have been a fucking thing 10, 20 years ago. They will continue to grow at that level. Their history is, they're making their own history now. And that's the way it is, but only if they're allowed to continue. Because you can say whatever the fuck you want. They are cheap. Until you prove otherwise, they're fucking cheating. I'll tell you one thing. United never cheated. And Arsenal never cheated. And Liverpool never cheated. And United and Arsenal battled it out for the best part of a decade in the Euros in the Premier League when they were the two richest teams. But there was never you couldn't question the integrity of the sport. It was always down to the two best managers who had the most money because they were the best teams. They were the best teams because it was part and parcel. But then you had lads coming out of nowhere who were able to pluck the best players from Europe without having any like Aguero signing for Man City and paying him fucking astronomical and a snowball. And like Keith said, they kind of get away with it now. Whereas, like I seen Trevor Sinclair today going, Kovacic 23 million, Man City are ruining football. Well, listen, Trevor, it's a bit of clever business, but you're fucking way wide of the mark. Man City ruining football goes way before the signing of fucking Mateo Kovacic.
But you see, Shawnee, that's where we are.
It's becoming more. Not that it's except you've seen the circle jerk, and the complete wank fest when Man City won the treble.
Yeah, but that's where we are.
There's hardly a mention of it. It's becoming normalised. So I don't have a problem with Real Madrid being able to give Jude Bellingham a fucking $500,000 a week and 100 million. They earned that right. They're the biggest club in world football. Whatever happened years ago with fucking Franco and training grounds, forget about it. They never halted the integrity. La Liga would be fucking nothing without them. Absolutely nothing. Poor Barca and La Liga would be fuck all without them clubs.
Yeah,
that's a fact. If you ripped Man City, Chelsea and Newcastle out of Premier League tomorrow, it would make fuck all difference to your TV money coming in. Because they're not fucking, they are not it. They are not it. If Arsenal turned around tomorrow and said, we want fuck all to do with your Premier League, that would do way more damage than United or than City or Chelsea putting out. Because outside of the realms of their Man City have got fans, not to the level, but outside of the realms, like, do me a fucking favour. Your man Calderon coming on saying we're the biggest club in the world, we're the most. Like, how do you not get sick in your mouth listening to that? How can
because I'll tell you why, Shawnee. Because
and you turn around saying, "Oh, they're ambitious, this and that." How can you justify that shit?
Because what they're doing is, Shawnee, what they're doing is they are, and a few people have mentioned your mic has gone a bit fuzzy, Shawnee. I don't know what's going on there, but what they're doing is they're basically running off a statute of limitations now. And basically what they're doing is they're going, that happened years ago. Let's just keep talking about how deadly we are, and all this will pass over. Right? What's going on with Saudi Arabia? Newcastle's owners, like there's a Newcastle fella in the chat there, right? And I'd say he's buzzing at the fact that you know Liverpool or Newcastle have all this and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm going sounding weird now. Shawnee, put them things back in your ears.
Shawnee's still both on your way down to the Titanic, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. There's all sorts of things now. Shawnee, put them back in your ear, will you? That's better. But like I'd say the Newcastle fan in the chat there is buzzing over what's going on in Newcastle, right? And if that's the way they want to be, that's fine. But like we can argue all day about is Newcastle right, is it wrong, is the ownership there right or wrong, but when you see this kind of triangle now of what's going on, it's absolute madness. I've a comment up there from Lee Gunnar from earlier. He says LFC have a bigger income than Arsenal. Yes, no reason you can't spend without putting money in. unless your wage bill is astronomical. Well, Liverpool's wage bill
is.
would be considerably higher than Arsenal's, I would say. And that's where it kind of evens out. Arsenal, of course, are taking out loans to do this, and it's quite openly known they've taken out loans, and they're taking loans off. And remember the word loans, off their owner as well. It's not an investment; it's a loan that they've put in to Arsenal, coupled with the Champions League money, and that's where they're spending that money. Arsenal.
It's not that they can't put it in, Gav. It's that they just always said they wouldn't be putting it in.
Yeah, but it's your man that runs what's Arsenal. He'd probably be looking back.
Stan Kroenke.
Yeah, he'd probably look for his money back at some stage. But look, I don't know what way it's going to go. I don't know if this. Are we going to see 5 or 6 Chelsea players go to Saudi Arabia? And that clears Chelsea to go and do what they want. I feel them probably have gone already. I don't know. I haven't checked.
There's talks of 6 of them or something going, isn't there?
Yeah, 6 of them
already.
Plus Mount United's, Havertz to Arsenal and Kovacic to City. And in fairness, if they done Kovacic, Havertz and Mount, that'd probably bring them in 130 million quid, which wouldn't be far off the 160 that was being quoted that he needed to sort out.
The wages they get off the books with that other absolute pile of horseshit that's going to Saudi Arabia is what will do them the world of good. Who's going there? Aubameyang getting linked over there. Fucking Koulibaly. Ziyech. Who else is it? Fucking Mendy. And then I saw Hudson-Odoi getting linked with it. Kante. And someone else, another player off them. Like, it's absolutely fucking madness. But, you know, as you touched on, this stuff with the Ruben Neves and now Bernardo Silva as well, going to Saudi Arabia. And if it's a thing then that they get loaned to Newcastle, which was obviously the rumour, that's how Newcastle get around their financial fair play. That's how their 75 million transfer that they're allowed to spend. Oh, well, we've just got in loan deals. 100 and odd million pounds worth of loan deals for free, you know, and that's where the manipulation will come in. Look, this stinks. It's getting worse. It's going to get worse, but
it's not that it's like as a Liverpool fan, you look around you and you go, yeah, this stinks. You know, the clubs around you doing this, but it's not even that. Like any club that wants to be in any way in the Premier League, like, you know, like a Luton are delighted to be in the Premier League, but Luton are looking now going, we're in here and what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? We're earning 100 million, right? But even if we stay up, what the fuck are we meant to do with that? Because, like, genuinely, there's teams up there spending 600 million deciding, they're not very good, and getting someone from the other side of the world to buy them off them. Do you know what I mean? It's like literally just taking players for free. And it's like, you know, sale or return. It's absolutely insane. But that in itself is bad enough. But the fact that, like, Chelsea, Newcastle and Saudi Arabia are so closely tied together now with ownership / investment in that triangle is absolutely mental. Someone, Jerkal says, is it Paulinho they're looking for 90 million? No, it is, isn't it?
Paulinho.
At Fulham, which is absolutely off the scale money as well. You know, look, we come on here to talk some names. We're talking about the Saudi Arabia. We're talking about FSG. We're talking about whatever you put in the chat as well. So we're trying to keep up with it.
Is there any names? Or is it just...
Well, I don't know if there... Like, to be honest with you, Keith, and like I said earlier, the narrative for it being quiet could be stuff is happening and you just don't know about it, or nothing's happening, let's go fucking mental, right? But to me, I haven't seen anything viable towards Liverpool in the last week.
Yeah.
Genuine.
There doesn't seem to be new names cropping up, doesn't there not? Like, and usually you get loads of it getting lashed in. Barella is the only sort of new one that I saw, but I don't see any legs in that myself, because why would they buy a player that's a similar profile to McAllister, you know what I mean? As in size as well, he's not big. The other players you can see are all big physical players. The Barella one doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I think Gravenberch is moving in.
You think Gravenberch is the one?
I think it's moving. I think just that's something that's been rumbling on before the season even started, and then it was Tuchel doesn't want him, and now Tuchel wants to move him on, and now he's being quite vocal. I think Gravenberch is moving again. I reckon that's one to keep an eye on, and I think that will be at the expense of a Kone probably coming in, or someone else, and I think it'll be I still don't know whether it's Thuram and one other, or Thuram or one other. I'm gonna live in hope and saying it's and.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be two
Um,
more.
Unless
well,
they're putting
just
Trent into a midfield.
yeah, but
Yeah.
look, that's a conversation for another day. But like, it's hard to know. But I feel like Gravenberch is moving again, and I think Gravenberch is like one Klopp wants. You know, like I don't know. It's fucking hard to know. We'll have to see. Maybe all our eggs are in this Euro basket, and all of our targets are there. But I don't know.
Antio feels
I hope
that Gravenberch, Thuram, and Van der Ven will be our transfer window. If he's being honest,
I think that as well. That's what I think.
And Bear reckons
I
Liverpool. Apparently, Liverpool are going to activate Gabri Vega's clause of 34 million. Jono says Coney went quiet at the same time. This Gravenberch news started to pick up again. Feels like it's Thuram plus one of either Gravenberch or Coney. Kev O'Sullivan wants Trent in the midfield and Boy a fullback. Anfield Road TV says a couple under the radar would be nice. That's what it's starting to feel like for me. If something's going to happen, it's either it's in place and you're waiting for these players to finish at 21s or whatever it might be, or there's something just completely under the radar. Like genuinely, if you're to ask me what I want Moses Caicedo under the radar at 70 million quid and going, yeah, fuck it, we went and done it. Do you know what I mean? But listen, we'll have to see how it goes. The bigger stories, around the transfer window at the moment is this stuff moving between different countries and you know. It's mind blowing how if it's that simple as how it's happening, how it's just continuing on, and that's how it goes. Nay says Gary Neville's comments. Have you seen them? I believe Gary Neville wants an investigation into Chelsea, into Saudi Arabia, into Newcastle, into all that stuff. And he's right. There should be an investigation. But having said that, Gary Neville has had plenty of time to stand up against whatever was going on, and never has. Gary Neville is refusing to come out and say he wants Qatar at Manchester United when he clearly does. Gary Neville travelled to a World Cup in Qatar after giving out yards about them and then sat there with his tail between his legs for 4 weeks. So, nah, I'm not really into Gary Neville. Anything else before we go, Shawnee?
Well, fucking Nicola Talent to be doing podcasts on football at this rate, the amount of bleeding.
She done one last week on the golf.
Yeah, I think she done one,
Yeah.
You're gonna be Nicola Talon's gonna have played Neil Jones in the studio now. Breaking down the ins and outs. It's mad. It's you know what? It's like you knew the train was coming, but the train was a lot faster than I anticipated, and it seems to be one of them things where you are thinking, we might get a few more seasons out before this stupid new fucking Champions League comes in, before Premier League games are being played in fucking Madison Square Garden. Like it's just mad goings on. I'm looking at a way myself where I'm gonna be able to just tune out and just enjoy Liverpool and football without all the shit that's going on around it. But it's gonna be hard when you have all the fucking grandstanding by ex-players and that. Rio Ferdinand fucking wearing burkas in the train station and stuff like that. It's mad. It's absolutely mental. Look, who knows what way it's going to go. I was looking forward to the football coming back, but I don't even know. I don't know my arse from my elbow anymore. Like I said, I don't know whether I need a shite or a haircut.
Will we just go to Liverpool and go with the lash? And there's a match on, there's a match on. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Keith, anything else before we go?
No, look, that's sort of similar to what Sean is saying, you know what I mean? Like, just focus on Liverpool. I can't be bothered with Premier League in general. I don't watch a lot of it. I enjoy South American football. Everyone knows that, but I enjoy it because they haven't a fucking bean over there. Do you know what I mean? There's not a fucking washer over in South America, and it's just about football, and I'll just watch a lot more of that, you know, because this is absolute poxy what's turning into. As Shawnee said, the train's coming fast, and you know, you're just looking at it and it's like, no, this isn't for me. So yeah, fuck football. I hate it. Get rid of it. Disband it.
And I said it the other night, like, and the funny thing is, like, I'm completely against state ownership of Liverpool, right? And or one state ownership masked as a PIF or Qatar or wherever else. But it's starting to dawn on me, and maybe I'm just a bit slow, but it's starting to dawn on me that that's probably where we're heading. Because if what's going on is allowed to happen again, or continue to happen, the only way you can really compete, whether your owner invests money in or not, the only way you're going to compete is to go down that line. And I'm completely against it, by the way. I'm not saying I support it in any way, but I can see why people feel that that's the way it'll go. Because, like, who buys a Liverpool? Who buys a Liverpool now? Who bought a Liverpool a year ago, right? When it was like City and 115 charges, and then who's buying one now? When this is going on, if it continues to go on without anyone obstructing it, and like Seany said earlier, the Premier League have yet in any way to show that they're able or have the balls to obstruct anything that's going on. They have 115 charges there, but they're sitting on their fucking hands since they put them there. They should be literally pulling this up and going, right, we're doing this before the season starts. End the fucking story. But look, it'll go on, and we'll be back to talk about it constantly. We'll hopefully when the three of us are back, or whoever's back on the next transfer show, is talking more transfers. Players are signing, players are leaning against walls, whatever they do nowadays. They don't lean anymore. I don't know. I think we should get rid of the lean thing. But anyway,
look, I was just going to say something. People are coming on looking for transfer talk. If we're being honest, we would have been talking absolute bollocks for an hour because nothing has happened really.
No, nothing's happened, and we'll never pretend to know anyway.
We're not going to fill you with shit either. So there's a fucking handful of Twitter accounts you can play with yourself looking at for the time being. Try bleeding appease yourself, but it would be just complete bollocks talk if we're throwing names around here, if I'm being deadly honest with you.
Yeah. Look,
we don't claim to be anything else, you know what I mean? We don't claim to be otherwise.
Emma Kavanagh wants to know, has anyone got your man Bezos' number? Give him a ring. I don't fucking know. DM him and see what's going on. Just once it's not that fella. Who's that fella that owns Twitter?
Oh, Muskie. No, you
Sausage of the week, that fella. Heavy week, Seany.
Sausage of the year.
I have to say, I don't mean in bad taste, but sausages of the week are anyone who fucking paid the grand that summer day, and when some fella was standing there with an Xbox
you can't go there.
Yeah.
Some fella was standing there with a bleeding Xbox controller. They can't go there. They're paying 250k a tick on to them. Sorry.
It shouldn't be a spectator sport in any way, shouldn't it? Not like it's fucking how deep that thing is down. They're paying to go on that. I'd rather go on Musk rocket to the fucking
just
moon.
Just stick the film on with bleeding Winslet and DiCaprio and have bleeding popcorn and a man.
Well, no, you see, I can't watch that film anymore because I think she's a bitch, that one. There was plenty of room on that wardrobe there for him, and she just wouldn't let him on. And that's the way I look at it, and I'll always stand by that. So Winslet can fuck off as far as I'm concerned. I know. I'm telling you, have a look at it. There's loads of room on that door. Loads of room on that door.
But can it take the weight?
You don't have to be fully on it. Just lean on it. All you wanted to do was flow.
Can anyone in the chat tell me where bleeding Desailly the second ended up this week? Fucking Evan and Dickie. Give me a bleeding break.
Oh, where did the Dickie bollocks go?
He's gone to Roma.
Oh, is he? Nice.
No, I mean Roma, the chipper out in Finglas.
The Roma grill.
Right. Anyway, we're out of here. There has been no transfer. What's it called? No transfer knowledge. Is that what we call ourselves?
Yeah.
But that's been it. Thanks to Seany. Thanks to Keith. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. If you have subscribed, great. If you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Turn the bell icon on, and when we go live, you'll know about it. Bang Average Golf has a new video out as well. Go and check that out. And our charity stuff is in the description. We are €3,000 shy of the 20,000. You didn't think we were going to get there, didn't you? But we're going to. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.